Shalom. This is your brother Barawan, giving all praises, glory, and honor unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Bahawashai, Bahashem, Rakak, Kwadash. Yahweh being the name of the Heavenly Father, the creator of heaven and earth, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, the God of Jacob. And Yahawashai, the name of his only begotten Son, which the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ. And the Rakak, Kwadash, which is the Holy Spirit. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone who rule well, teaching the 100% truth of the gospel, waking up and helping to seal the elect of the nation of Israel. And salutation to all the sincere Akim out there that are pushing this gospel in truth and sincerity, risking their lives and their freedom to do so. So what we're going to go into today is the turning of the world upside down by Esau the Edom, the so-called white man, the devil which the Bible speaks of. This this whole lesson when I was getting prepared for it, doing all the research, pulling up all the links, and getting all the scriptures running through my head, that's made me realize that this one, this is the reason why we call Esau the devil. Because of this wickedness, because of this wickedness that he has put, how he manipulated history to make himself seem like, to make himself seem like the most, what would I use? To make himself seem like the creator of everything, like make himself seem like some kind of saint, even though he's just the basic devil. Come out here telling that he civilized the whole world. That nonsense. That's a story. That's whole. But that one is a story for another day. Listen for another time. What we're going to go into right now is how Esau, painted his image, as the scriptures say, painted his image over the prophets and over the, and over the men of the scriptures, making the Most High Yahweh Hashem Yahushai and his son look like him. Look like pale-fleshed, leprous Edomites. Also, instead of how the true way they look, which is dark-skinned Israelites. And let's get this first word right now. This meaning of this word, iconoclasm, which is what is which what Esau and his artists are guilty of. And there's even a whole course in university concerning this iconoclasm. And the definition is the beliefs, practices of or doctrine of an iconoclast, which is the act of breaking or destroying images, specifically a general destruction of the images and pictures set up in churches as objects of veneration, carried out by the iconoclasts in the 8th and 9th century and by the Protestants in the Netherlands in the 16th century. So basically, what they are admitting to is that they broke down the images that were in churches during during the time when Israelites, when Israelites were in rulership, when they had the true images of Yahweh and his and the apostles and the prophets, in their dark skin, which is why if you Google for any images of Yahweh before the 16th century, which is when the Renaissance happened, you'll see that the images are very, very dark. The images are mostly dark men with woolly hair, which is why maybe I'm not going to Google it here, but you can Google Russian icons to get a better view of what those look like. You can just Google 12th century art or 6th century art, any bit of art before the 16th century. And I have a few links opened up right now, so let me go to Renaissance. We'll get to that whole picture of David later. And this is the book of, this is the meaning of Renaissance, the Wikipedia definition of Renaissance. The Renaissance was a period in European history, making the transition from the Middle Ages to modernity and covering the 15th and 16th centuries. In addition to the standard periodization, proponents of a long Renaissance put its beginning in the 14th century and its end in the 17th century. And this Renaissance, it's a Latin word or a Greek word meaning rebirth. What it meant is basically that, because but before the Renaissance, it was Israelites, it was Jake that was ruling in Europe during that time. All these European kings and all these men, men that you hear about in the Dark Ages, they were actually so-called dark-skinned men. And there's a few books I can actually what's the word I'm looking for? Recommend that will show you that the nobles of Europe during that time. One of those books is I've forgotten the name of that book. Anyway, I'll put it in the description below. So this Renaissance was, when these so-called wise people, they gained, after they gained their, they regained their power. Let me just put it like that, because during the Roman Empire, it was Edomites, so-called whites, that were ruling. But then the Roman Empire fell. We all know that story. The barbarians, which were Israelites as well, they fell the Roman Empire because their armies were too far spread out. They were too far spread thin, so they could not defend their own land, and the Roman Empire was completely destroyed, and Rome was completely laid waste. Which was judgment from Yahweh Hashem Yahushai for what the Romans did to Israel, for causing 70 AD, and for killing Yahushai, of course. And then after that he had the Moors and the I believe it is the Byzantine Empire that started setting themselves up. The Moors started controlling parts of different parts of Europe. But that is a story for another day. So let me get Job 9 and 24 very, very, very quickly. That's one of the scriptures I want to get. And if you've been interested, well, you know what I'm trying to go to. Because even the book, even the Bible prophesied that the Edomites, the wicked, would paint over the images of the prophets and Yahweh and even the Most High Yahweh. And this is the book of Job, chapter 9, verse 24. The earth is given into the hand of the wicked. He covereth the faces of the judges thereof. If not, where and who is he? And let me also go to the book of First Maccabees, chapter 3, verse 48 in the Apocrypha. And it reads, And laid open the book of the law, and wherein the heathen had sought to paint the likeness of their images. And that book of First Maccabees was the beginning of the Roman Empire. It's the account of what was happening in Israel during the beginning of the Roman Empire. And another book of Job was a prophecy concerning the wicked. How they would paint over the images of the saints, over their three images, which are the image of so-called dark men into the image of so-called white men or Edomites. I know that's the other thing. When you see us Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans coming out here saying that we're Israelites, we're not just saying it just because it sounds good to the ear or just because it sounds nice to see. We are saying it because we actually have tons and tons of pounds of evidence. We actually have Edomites even opening their own mouth to confess that this is what is actually going on, this is what is actually happening. That Psalms, that scripture, their own tongue shall fall upon themselves. This isn't just something that we just woke up one day and decided to just start talking about. This is something that and after studying the scriptures and studying the precepts, we just concluded that that we have to be the Israelites. After studying the book of Deuteronomy chapter 28, we have to be the Israelites, because there's no way you can get around the courses that are written in that scripture. Only one group of people fulfill those courses. So now just go through a few of these images that they actually created concerning their iconoclasm. Just a few images of their iconoclasm, just to show that, just to show how wicked these Edomites actually are. This one is the first one, the image of Michelangelo, hand of God, and this image is actually in a church, right? This image, right, is actually in a church. This is actually painted in a building of a church. And this is what they call the Most High God and Adam, and see them as so-called is it white? So-called white men, so-called Edomites. Even though the scriptures tell you that Adam was that Yahweh molded sand to make Adam. He's made made Adam from the dust of the earth, and even the name Adam it goes back to the Hebrew word Adama, which means from the ground. And that's the funny thing, because there is no sand. There is no how do I put this? There's no earth on this planet, no sand, no ground that is actually so-called white, or as these Edomites are pink. All of it it's all different shades of brown. And from the very dark brown of the loamy soil to the very light white sand, which is dark and brown. Nothing is that the soil that is in a garden is predominantly loamy soil because of the quality of the soil. the darker the soil is, the better the quality. And loamy soil has the best quality, is the best quality soil for planting, for planting, and the most gardens, or if I just say all gardens have loamy soil in it. I don't know how dark that loamy soil is. So okay. um Here it is, the book of Genesis chapter 1 verse 26, and it reads, and power said, let us make man in our image, after our likeness, and let them have dominion over the fish of the sea, and over the fowl of the air, and over the cattle, and over all the earth, and over every creeping thing that creepeth upon the earth. So power created man in his own image. In the image of God created him, male and female created them. So there you have it. That's the um so okay, that's the first picture I wanted to get. That the most high, how first of all he created God in his own image. He created him. That means he created him, to look, to look like him. So that means the first man, which is Adam, would look just like the Most High, which is why we say that the Most High is, the Most High is also a dark skinned man, because all the creation that he was created in his own image, and his chosen people are also predominantly dark skinned. Of course, you would have Israelites that look like the other nations. You would even have Israelites that look like so-called white men. After all, this is concerning your bloodline. If your line through your fathers goes back to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, then yes, you are 100% a Israelite. No matter what you look like, and no matter how much you look like the heathen, they are 100% the Israelites. Here it is. And also, let me also quickly get the book of Genesis chapter 2 verse 7. So okay, I won't forget about this one. I wanted to go into go. I once forgot about this one, and I wanted to go into something else. And it reads, and Yahweh of power formed man of the dust of the ground, and breathed into his nostrils the breath of life, and man became a living soul. And that's that goes back into the origin of creation. Like I said, it was created from the dust of the ground. And what color is sand? Because sand is obvious. Sand is brown. There's no pink sand that can create a edomite. Even these so-called white man, Esau Edom, even he admitted that the first men that walked upon the earth, Homo sapien, was actually very dark skinned. But even if they are bullshit Christian story with all that evolution and all that crap, but that's a story for another. That's a lesson for another day. I just got the lesson right there, disproving evolution. Even though I've already done it before, but I'll go into it through the script. I'll filter it through the scriptures. That's a lesson. That's another lesson. Also, let me also get also this image was inspired by that, in Genesis, how it said that after Adam and Eve ate the fruit of the knowledge of good and evil, that they were this thing that they saw that they were naked. So let me quickly get the book of Genesis chapter 3 and read from verse 1. Now the serpent was more subtle. No, okay. This is the book of Genesis chapter 3 verse 1. Now the serpent was more subtle than any beast of the field, which Yahweh of power had made. And he said unto the woman, Yea, hath power said, Ye shall not eat of every tree of the garden. And the woman said unto the serpent, We may eat of the fruit of the trees of the garden, but of the fruit of the tree which is in the midst of the garden, power hath said, Ye shall not eat of it, neither shall ye touch it, lest ye die. And the serpent said unto the woman, Ye shall not surely die, for power doth know that in the day ye eat thereof, then your eyes shall be opened, and ye shall be as gods, knowing good and evil. And when the woman saw that the tree was good for food, and that it was pleasant to the eyes, and a tree to be desired to make one wise, she took of the fruit thereof and did eat, and gave also unto her husband with her, and he did eat. I know that scripture. It was even referenced in the book of, I believe it was Corinthians. That the woman being in transgression. Let me go to it. I believe it's in First Timothy chapter 2. First Timothy. I'm not really sure about it. Either in Corinthians or Timothy. Let me just let me go to Timothy first. Maybe everything I'm trying to open to it. Using okay. This is First Timothy. This is the book of First Timothy chapter 2 verse 14, and it reads, whereunto he called okay, this is Thessalonians, so okay. This is the book of First Timothy chapter 2 verse 14. And Adam was not deceived, but the woman being deceived was in the transgression. I know it was Eve that it was Eve that got deceived by the serpent, that got beguiled by the serpent. As I could just say, but that's beside the point. That's a lesson that's a completely different lesson. But what we're talking about right now is how erroneous this image is. And I know even the scripture that it's an abomination for putting aside the fact that it's an abomination for a man to be naked. Just because that in that book of Genesis it tells that Adam and Eve looked upon themselves and they were naked. It doesn't mean they weren't wearing clothes. That wasn't what the nakedness that passage was talking about. Because this Bible it mostly speaks in darks. It mostly speaks in similitudes, in proverbs and dark sayings. Let me just open to the book of Corinthians, 2 Corinthians. I have it right here. Written down. Written down. The book of 2 Corinthians chapter 5. And I'll start from verse 1, but the point is in 3. And this is the book of 2 Corinthians chapter 5 verse 1. For we know that if our earthly house of this tabernacle were dissolved, we have a building of power, and house not made with hands, for an eternal heaviness. And what this means is that not actually the actual building, but rather our bodies. That's what it means by the earthly tabernacle. That's what the earthly tabernacles means. Our bodies, these chains of darkness that we have been put in. And this is verse 2. For in this we groan, earnestly desiring to be clothed upon with our house which is from heaven. If so be that being clothed we shall not be found naked. And what it means to be found naked is to be found in iniquity, to be found in sin. That's what Adam and Eve said when they realized that they were naked. That's why they hid from Yahweh Bashim Yahweh, because they realized they realized that they had just committed a sin, that by disobeying the words of Yahweh Bashim Yahweh, they had just committed a sin. This is the book of Exodus chapter 35 verse 25, and it reads, I meant Exodus chapter 32 verse 25, and it reads, and when Moses saw that the people were naked, for Aaron had made them naked unto their shame among their enemies. And it is speaking of, when, let me go up let me go up to the book of Exodus chapter 32 verse 21, and it reads, and Moses said unto Aaron, what did these people unto thee, that thou hast brought so great a sin upon them? And Aaron said, let not the anger of my Lord wax hot. Thou knowest the people, that they are set on mischief. For they said unto me, make us gods which shall go before us. For as for this Moses, the man that brought us up out of the land of Israel, we wot not what is become of him. And I said unto them, whosoever hath any gold, let him break it off. So they gave it to me, then I cast it into the fire, and there came out this calf. I know that's also the reason why the scripture said that they were naked, not because all the Israelites there didn't pull off their clothes suddenly out of nowhere or standing around stark naked. They were naked because they had committed iniquity. That's the same thing. That's the same thing in the book written in the book of Genesis, that Adam and Eve were naked because they scored that they were naked because they scored that they had committed sin, which is why they hid themselves. And it's going to be there's a lot to go into in this whole Renaissance painting, because all these paintings are actually Renaissance painting. All these paintings are from the 16th century. Here is this one, the statue of David. That's the painting that was in the Wikipedia page for the Renaissance. And I'm just going to quickly go into it. Like I should probably just use a more family friendly painting. They even admitted that they painted David in the model of an Edomite. They said that they painted him as a Greek. They painted him in the model of an Edomite. And I already read this. I already read that it's and Satya. It was a shame in the land of Israel for a man to come out and be naked, and it was another shame for a man to be without a beard, which is why a great millstone and other Israelite camps we push that a man should always, should always have a beard. Because it's actually a sin to shave off your beard. Which is right, and also even the scripture described David as ruddy. That he was how did I put it? That he was ruddy in complexion, and that ruddy goes back to the word. That ruddy, it actually means reddish brown. I know I'll get that definition later, but let me just quickly get this first. The law concerning the keeping of the beard. And I know this law very well because I've been I've been using it a lot. And also the same law also tells you not to, we call it here in Nigeria, we call it shaping beards. Shaping your beard and your hair. But they call it line up in other countries, but you call it shaping. When you carve your head, you carve the corners of your head so that everything will look straight. This is what the scriptures say in the book of Leviticus chapter 19 verse 27. Ye shall not round the corners of your head, neither shalt thou mar the corners of thy beard. Ye shall not make any cut of that's how do I put this? That one is a completely different law concerning not putting tattoos on your body. And also this is the book of Romans, Leviticus chapter 21, and chapter 21 verse 5, and it reads, Thou shalt not make baldness upon thy head. So upon thy head. So it is first of all, it is a sin for you to even shave your head completely bald. Even the scriptures say in the book of Ezekiel that you shouldn't you can shave it, you can barb it low, but you're not supposed to shave it completely bald. And also that you should keep your beard. That you should not even I should not shave your beard at all. And it reads, neither shall they shave off the corner of their beard, nor make any cuttings in their flesh. So you can't put any tattoos on your body, and you can't put any scars or those tribal marks that some Israelites actually are doing on themselves. And you're not allowed to shave your beard. So this just feels like this picture right here, this is going now. This is blasphemy. Changing the image of Yahweh Hashem Yahushua. And even the scriptures tell you exactly what these men look like. It tells you how they look. It tells you that they are dark skinned men. And also going to another thing to a practical example of what I said. Because even King David had a beard, and the scriptures tells us that King David had a beard. And let me use this scripture as an example. In the book of First Samuel, in the chapter 21, verse 18, and First Samuel chapter 21, verse 13. And it reads, And he changed his behavior before them, and feigned himself mad in their hands, and scrabbled on the doors of the gates, and let spittle fall down upon his beard. Okay, so this was when David was running away from, when he was still running away from Saul, when Saul was still king, and he ran into the border of the Philistines. Well, when the Philistines recognized that, okay, this dude is David, David decided to start acting mad so that the Philistines wouldn't attack him and almost and nearly and kill him, or torture him, or do whatever thing that they wanted to do to him. Because the scriptures, David killed Goliath, and then he killed hundreds of thousands of Philistines, which also debunks that Christian mindset that said that means that you cannot kill any, no matter what somebody does, so no matter what wicked thing somebody does, that you're not allowed to kill them. Because the scriptures tell you that you should, I should say that you're not allowed to murder them, because murdering somebody and killing somebody are two different things. The scriptures say that you're not supposed to kill someone that is righteous, someone that is innocent, but someone that is guilty must be put to death. Let me also get the book of Second Samuel 10:4, and it reads, "Wherefore," should I start from? Let me just start from the beginning. This is the book of Second Samuel chapter 10 verse 1, and it reads, "And it came to pass after this that the king of the children of Ammon died, and Hanun his son reigned in his stead. Then said David, I will shew kindness unto Hanun, the son of Nahash, as his father shewed kindness unto me. And David sent comfort to him by the hand of his servants for his father. And David's servants came into the land of the children of Ammon. And the princes of the children of Ammon said unto Hanun their lord, Thinkest thou that David doth honour thy father, that he hath sent comfort as unto thee? Hath not David rather sent his servants unto thee to search out the city, and to spy it out, and to overthrow it? Wherefore Hanan took David's servants, and shaved off the one half of their beards, and cut off their garments in the middle, even to their buttocks, and sent them away. And when they told it unto David, he sent to meet them, because the men were greatly ashamed. And why were they ashamed? Because first of all, he shaved their beards, and then he made them walk around in clothes that were showing, that were exposing their nakedness. And I continue. And the king said, Tarry at Jericho until your beards be grown, and then return. That's the whole point I wanted to get. I'll say it again. It's a shame for a man to be walking around without a beard. That's why even in these pictures that you see, even the how do I put it now? The pictures that have been iconoclasted or iconoclasmed, they're the pictures that Esau has painted over, or the images that Esau created after the fact, or after the Renaissance, concerning the prophets and the men of the Lord. You see, all of them always have big, full, long beards, because it is required by the laws of Yahweh Hashem Yahushai, and all these laws still stand by the way, because you cannot tell me that you follow one of these laws without following everything. What does the scripture say concerning that he that trespasses in the least of these commandments trespasses the entire commandment? How was I going to say again? Yes. So that's just a little something, a little reminder for you, for you and brothers out there, that you should always that you should keep up your beards. And I wanted to go into these images of the Sistine Chapel, but I already covered that one in this Michelangelo image, because here is the whole chapel. Because here is the church, or the church where they actually go to worship their God, these Catholics. This is just proof up. Let me just go to it. This is proof that Christianity is bugged. Christianity is a bugged out, insane religion. Because here is a church that has the way they claim to go and worship God, that has images of naked Edomites on the altar. Okay, here's a good one. Let me just zoom in, so you can actually see that they have images of naked Edomites on the altar. And this is what the clean heaven looks like. Oh, and here's another interesting thing. This is what, if it's okay. If this is what heaven looks like, there's no so-called dark-skinned person. You're no so-called Asian, no Indian, no nothing. All Edomites. That's what Esau wants. He doesn't want you Negroes, you Latinos, you Native American, you Israelites in his own kingdom of heaven. He wants to completely destroy you, completely, wipe you out. This is what he tried to do with the transatlantic slave trade. But our power, Yahweh Hashem Yahushua, is stronger than his. And this is the last thing I want to go into. Oh yeah, I forgot about that. What I was talking about. I said that King David was ruddy. So I'm going to get a picture of, an image of Roddy. Oh, would you look at that? So okay, first, so let me just explain it for a little bit. They changed the meaning of the word Roddy to mean so-called Edomites. I noticed all these pictures right now. What complexion are they? Are they whites? All these pictures of these Edomites that you see, are they whites? They see that they are super red. That's what these that's what Esau that's what Esau does. It changes the meaning of words so that it can be God, I lost my train of thought. Let me read it back. Notice that these most of the white men in these pictures, they're not actually white, they are red. You can see white in the background, you can see the color of white, and you can see the color of red. And because that's what Esau did, he changed the meaning of the word ruddy to mean when a white man has a super red complexion, even though all these Edomites are red, which is why in some places they are called rednecks. But if you go and now type in, I know I don't even need to type it in because you can see it right here. This is what they call a ruddy duck. As you can see, the complexion it is, and there are even some images of what ruddy people actually look like this one here. This is what a ruddy human being actually looks like. Reddish brown complexion. That's what he was talking about when he said King David was ruddy. And this is another one here. So okay, that's the skin shade that Ruddy was talking about in the scriptures. Because in the scriptures they say that King David was, first of all, he was ruddy and he was good. First of all, he said that he was ruddy and he was fair to look at. In other words, he was a very handsome. In other words, he was a very handsome looking man, which is not surprising considering he was an Israelite. So let me just also get this before I start bringing out the scriptures.